I guess what I'm keen to show today is iQniter Cardio Training's DesiQner software. The beauty of this software is that it's free. Very rarely these days do you get any free software, but it's hopefully through this little tutorial you'll be able to see the power of the software, what you can do with it, how you might be able to find it useful for designing your own classes. First of all, where do you find it? If you go to the iQniter website, you see up here at the top URL bar, iqniter.com/DesiQner. That's DESIQNER. All you need is a Windows PC and you can download it. Click the download button, run the software. You'll then create your own login, password, and you can take it wherever you go. What we're going to do is keep moving pretty quick with the tutorial. There's a lot to show you on the actual DesiQner software itself. So what you're seeing here on the screen is once you log into DesiQner, there's a few different tabs. You can see the top left here, you have a sessions tab that I'm just closing and opening there. So the sessions are basically all the rides or all the training sessions that have been put together so far for my file or my account. To the right of that, you have stage and step information, copy stage, music. This is a real unique part to the DesiQner software and any heart rate monitoring system out there, is that you can actually include music tracks. So you can create an immersive experience. You can really create that wow factor, and you can also add in video here as well. So we'll be showing you that later on. Zone distribution and session sharing, which we'll go on to that later as well. To begin with, just going to show you a little beginner session here that was created earlier this year. When I double click on that session, you'll see how it opens up. So there's a lot of different things going on here. We can walk through each one just to give you an overview of what it looks like once a session is designed. Then we'll go back through, create a new session, and just show you how you can pop that together. Starting at the top left here, you can see that this session's been called Beginners. You can give it a bit of a description. It's got categories that you can actually select here as well. You'll have the duration, the exertion average. All the DesiQner sessions can actually be copied. So it comes into play if you're working within a facility and you want other instructors to be able to copy those sessions into their profiles, or as I show you later on, there's some really cool stuff you can do with the actual sharing of these sessions. Below that are some general information about how the session was created. As with all things on iQniter, there's easy access to help. So if you click on the help button or the iQniter Q button, you'll be able to get all the information in terms of user manuals, some more detailed information on how to use the software as well. Down the bottom, you've got a simple save button, you've got a close button, and you've got a print button. Really cool thing about the print button, you'll see along the bottom here is an intensity profile, and that's what DesiQner's about. If you've been to a cycle instructing course, or if you've done training online or in person at a facility, if you are an instructor yourself, I guess one thing that's talked about a lot is this visualization. They do it at the top level of elite sports, but it's applicable across any fitness level. If you have a group of people that are all in your cycle studio ready to do a training session, being able to visualize what's ahead is going to give you the best collaboration with that group, get everyone on board, and everyone can see very clearly what's lying ahead of them on the road. If you take a ride outside, for example, if you know that you're going to go out for an hour ride and you sort of picked your route, well, you know exactly what's going to be coming up on that route most of the time. So you can pace yourself, make sure you hit the hills right when you want them, and that's really what DesiQner's doing. It's taking those outside capabilities, bringing it inside to the cycle studio and creating a wow experience. The software was designed by indoor cycling instructors for indoor cycling instructors. So there will be a bit of tech talk as I go along. By that I mean stages and steps. Pretty basic stuff, but obviously there'll be some contact information at the end that if you do have questions, you can get in touch. So this intensity profile along the bottom would be the complete ride. You saw at the duration in the top sessions tab of 45 minutes. If you look at the timeline along the bottom here, you'll see that it's 45 minutes. The different colours relate to the intensity zones, and you'll see the zone distribution in the tab here. You can actually customise the number of zones that you have with Igniter, and that gives you more variety, a little bit more interaction with the class if you want, or you can keep it very simple with, say, a 5-zone system. Each of these sections throughout the ride is referred to as a step, and you'll see that I'm just highlighting those as I go along. A few of those steps combined will make a stage, and you'll see here this green section that's highlighted for 9 minutes would be called a stage, and then the whole 45 minutes would be called the session. So as we're designing these rides, you have your different steps, and from a coaching and instructing point of view, it's your steps where you're saying to the group what's coming up next, the next target for exertion index, or the next target for what you want the group to be hitting, the next visual cue that you're giving them. Up the top is where you actually control these steps and stages. It's a really simple process. So if we start with the stage, which again is this, in this example would be the complete 9 minutes, you give that stage a name. So in this case it's the warm-up. You can give it a description, and you can also give it a cue card. Cue cards are awesome because if you're thinking of quality assurance across a group of facilities or just within your riding group, you can put notes in there for key coaching techniques or something that's happening at your facility. That'll pop up on the screen. You can set the duration that that cue card pops up, and it only pops up on the instructor's PC. It does not appear on the group screen. So the instructor can be having all this great feedback and cues and tips and little intricate bits, or just really simple KPI information, but you can make sure it's delivered the same time every time. That's what the cue card feature's there for. Coming down to the step information is where you actually control the percentage, the exertion level, and you can do that by percentage or a scale. Just to show you how that one works on the step, you'll see here that I've got this first step selected. This step goes for 4 minutes. If I click plus, that will raise this percentage up. If you click minus, it lowers the percentage. Now what you'll see at the moment, it's not actually doing anything, so you're not going crazy, but this session is locked. This is because it's one of our, free designer sessions that instructors can come on, have a look at, get a feel for how it's designed. So anyone that downloads the designer software, you will see this exact session. You can go through, have a feel for how it's put together, but you will not be able to actually change this session. So really simple, yeah? This one, increase, decrease the intensity of each step. As you can see, as we've gone along, we've gone up and down, up and down. What that means for each stage, you could create some interval sessions for the first stage. You could create some more intense hill efforts for the second stage. Possibilities are endless. You can let your mind run free. Some of the other cool stuff that happens on the step is cadence. With the cadence side of it, whether your bikes are hooked into RPM readouts on the bike's computer, or if you're just running a class where you just want to have some sort of guidance on the screen to say how fast should you be pedaling, what are those revolutions per minute. You've got options like free, spinning, or you can actually put specific targets in there. For example, 80 RPM, 90 RPM. Just have a think about how specific you could get in terms of making sure people hit that perfect training effect. Duration is just that. Remember, this refers to the step. So as is highlighted down the bottom here, this step here is 1 minute. You can increase, decrease as needed. You can also have a position on the bike. At the moment, this step is seated. You'll see the following step is standing. You can also have nothing displayed there if you're not wanting to get into that detail. But I see it regularly in a number of spinning classes, and I've been guilty of this myself. is that the instructor says, okay, let's go, and you don't quite hear the cue. You're not quite there, or I'm absolutely busting my gut and I'm sweating and I've just missed the cue. Whereas this gives a visual on screen, standing, right, up we go, let's go. Everyone as a group hitting that training effect. You've also got a cue card for the step. So there are 2 cue card options. Obviously you don't want to be overloading people with information. Use them wisely and use them to your discretion. But with the stage, obviously that cue card would be an overall summary of what's going to happen for this stage. That's how you're doing intervals. Well, look guys, we've got 4 sets of 30-minute efforts. 30 minutes might be a bit exaggerated, but how about we go 30-second efforts? All right, 30-second efforts, 45 seconds recovery. It's going to be active recovery. And then your cue card for the step will be, okay, this step, think about this position on the bike, think about what you're doing with your pedal. You can get a little bit more specific. You could have a quote there or some sort of funny line to get everyone motivated. Really opens up the options. And again, that only appears on the instructor's screen. iQniter has a unique system where you have a dual screen setup. It means on the instructor's PC, they can manage the class, get the cue cards, check people in and out, control the session. On the group screen, it's very clean cut, and I'll show you that at the end just so you get an idea of how that looks. Moving on, you can copy stages. So I'm just going to minimize the step and stage information. I've expanded the copy stage information. This just makes it really easy. If you have a class that you really like and you just want to make some basic adjustments to it, well, click that and you can drag that into your session. Okay? Then edit from there. Makes it really, really simple. I'll just minimize that one. Open up the music. Really unique to iQniter. So what I've got in here is a few different things. You'll see MP4.wav files, MP3. Really opens up opportunities in terms of file types, so you don't have to be too specific there. It will take the majority of file types that are available for media formats. But just think about your soundtrack, first of all. We all know a big part of indoor cycling is the music. It motivates people, gets that tempo going and makes sure people are hitting that correct training. That's why we're all there. What that means you can do, because this steps and stage cursor will be playing along the screen as you progress through the ride, you want your music to be exactly in time. So you can load your playlist into DesiQner, have that set along the top of your ride, and when you press play during the class, using the iQniter software, you'll have that music perfectly synced. Imagine that. Don't have to worry about different buttons here and there. Everything perfectly synced straight off the bat. It also allows you to include video. Looking at the heart rate tile, looking at your percentage max heart rate or calories or exertion effort or a score or a friendly competition within class is great fun. What it also allows you to add with the video is that getting outside the four walls, create that wow experience. So whether it's hills, cycling, tracks, again, many opportunities there. We're actually seeing some great innovation within some clubs for internal advertising and external advertising, so you can sort of start to think about some of the possibilities there in terms of return on investment, but also just promoting what's happening within your own facility. Zone distribution. Now, my background is as an exercise physiologist, so this is the sort of stuff I get off on. Zone distribution is all about making sure you're training your riders in the right areas for the right amount of time. I think too often these days, classes are just all go. You know, it's all about max effort. iQniter tries to train a little bit smarter. Okay, take the guesswork out of training. Train smarter, not harder. What this allows you to do, once you've designed your whole session, is look up and say, well, yeah, look, I want about 76 to 80% exertion effort as the max proportion of the ride. I want a little bit above that, a little bit below that. Okay, it's not an advanced class. I don't want to be heading into the high 80s or 90s. So I've been able to keep it out of that range. really good solid hit out without going too hard. And you just know then if people follow your ride plan, you know the sort of effect they're going to be getting out of that. You can do that for the session, which is what's shown here. You can click this little toggle and it will do it for the stage. So at the moment, this is the exertion breakdown just for this first 9-minute stage. You'll see if I click on this stage, that breakdown also changes. And obviously step. Just going to minimize that one. If I come to session sharing, it's not going to actually show up at the moment, but we can do that when I create a class, which is what we're going to go into now.